everybody, welcome back for another workout. My name's Liddy and I'm currently about 37 weeks pregnant. So if you are also expecting a baby, this workout is prenatal friendly for you, although of course listening to your body as we go. Today's workout will be focusing on glutes, core and a little bit of upper body, back and shoulders. So a really lovely one for posture and some core strength. We'll get started with our side lying leg press warm up. So you're going to pop 2 heavy springs on your machine, 2 heavy springs, and if you wanted a little bit more, you can also add on either a light spring or even a medium spring to that as well. Otherwise, just sticking with your 2 heavy springs. We're going to be coming to lie down on our left side. So you can use yoga block or a chew ball as a pillow if you like. I'm just going to use my forearm, shuffling your hips all the way to the back of that carriage. Knees are tucked up on that machine, and that right foot is going to come to the top corner of your foot bar. So your heel and your toes are on that foot bar. Knee in line with your hip and your heel. Nice deep inhale, breath to prepare, and as you exhale, can you push through that right heel, send that carriage all the way out nice and slow. And then inhale slow as you can to draw that carriage back in. Start to think into those muscles that are working here. So exhale, squeeze into that right glute, send your weight heavy through that right heel. And then inhale to slow return that carriage back down. So 3 to 4 counts on the way out. The slower you go, the better. And then 3 to 4 counts on the way in. And on these first few reps, the first movements of our class, let's just take some time to settle into our body, the weight of our body on our carriage, our breathing, so taking nice deep belly breaths. Inhaling through the nose and sending that air down to our diaphragm, to our baby, to our belly. And then exhaling through pursed lips. You can either have that top hand on your hip, on that shoulder block, or maybe underneath your belly, just to support that bump if you prefer, wherever is more comfortable. Couple more here. Making sure you're still sending that weight through that right heel. And then the next time you press that carriage all the way out to the top, you're going to inhale to find your heavy halfway point and hold it here. So where does that carriage feel the heaviest? You can take a moment to figure out where that is for you today. Maybe it's a little inch lower, maybe it's a little inch higher. Find that point of most tension and then holding that carriage nice and still. From here we're going to start a really slow pulse. Exhale out 1 inch, bring that carriage to a stop. Inhale down 1 inch, bring that carriage to a stop. Again, exhale up 1 inch and inhale down 1 inch. Can you keep going like this for me? Me hanging out at that heavy halfway point. Each time you pulse up or down, make sure you hit that pause. Can you get a little bit more weight pressing through that right heel? Awesome. Here for 10. For 9. Keep breathing here, squeezing through that glute. For 7. 6. 5. Keep breathing. 4. You've got 3. 2. And you can press all the way to the top on 1. Come back down to that stopper. We've got 2 more sets, but we'll switch up the position of our foot each time. So for your next set, I want you to keep the ball of your foot on that foot bar, but you're going to lift that right heel. So working through a little bit of ankle stability here. So we're on tippy tippy toes. Nice deep inhale breath, and then keeping that right knee tracking with that right hip, keeping that right heel high. Can you push through the ball of your foot to send that carriage away? And then keep that heel high as you inhale to lower. Exhale, press away. And inhale to lower. Keep coming back to that feeling of lift through the heel. Of course, if this doesn't feel good for your ankle, you don't feel safe here, or for whatever reason it's not feeling good for you, of course, bring that heel back down to that foot bar, no stress. Otherwise, how high can you keep that heel? Just make sure that knee isn't dropping down or lifting up too high. Keep it in line with that heel and hip. Nice. Noticing in your body where you feel this one as opposed to the last foot position. So for me, I feel this one a little bit more in the front of my thigh, that quad muscle. Keeping that breathing nice and slow, a couple more here. And then the next time you press away, do a similar thing to finish us off. So bring that carriage down to find heavy halfway. We find that heaviest point and we hold. And then can you think about that carriage staying completely still? You're going to bring that heel down to tap the foot bar. Lift that heel high. Go again. Tap that heel down. Carriage doesn't move. Lift that heel high. We're here for 10. Good. Otherwise, coming back to those pulses, if you've got your heel down on that foot bar for 8. Good job for 7. Deep breaths. Ooh, starting to feel it in that calf here for 5. Keep that carriage still for 4. Last 3. Last 2. And then 1. Lift that heel high. Push that carriage to the top. And then float that carriage all the way down. Nice. Little tap out for that leg, little roll out for that ankle. We've got one more set to go on this side. So take a little adjustment if you need to. For this last set, we're going to take an out turn with our top right leg. So we've still got that right heel on the foot bar, but we're going to angle those right toes out at about a 45-degree angle, and keeping that knee tracking in line with those toes as well. Nice deep inhale breath, and then exhale, push through that right heel to the top, and then inhale to slowly draw it in. Exhale to press, and then inhale to come back in. Nice, so back to that full range of motion. Coming back to those deep belly breaths. This is your last set on this side. Whew. And again, noticing where you feel this one a little differently to the last 2 sets. For me, it's in that outer glute a little bit more. Nice, couple more. Heel is heavy. And then on your next one, you're going to inhale, find that heavy halfway point. Make sure you've still got that nice out turn with those right toes. And then we're back to that pulse, slow pulse. Exhale out an inch, freeze. Inhale down an inch, freeze. This is your last little push just to warm up that right leg. Whew. Good job. Here for 10. Good for 8. Can you send a little bit more weight through that right heel to the foot bar for 6? Nice work. to the top on one, coming all the way down to that stopper and taking one last tap out there. Nice job. Now I think we'll warm up the other leg straight away just to make sure that we're nice and evenly warmed up before we get into the body of our workout. So you can stay on the same springs and then just take a gentle roll over to the other side once you're ready. Same again, you can either use your forearm as a pillow, or if you've got your chi ball or yoga block, use that. Your bottom leg is tucked up on that carriage, hips are shuffled to the back, and your left heel and left toes this time are on that foot bar. Making sure that knee is in line with your hip and your heel. And then on your next exhale breath, you can press through that left heel this time. Send that carriage away. And then inhale nice and slow to return. Exhale, push away. And inhale to return. So top hand is where it's most comfortable. And again, let's just take these first few reps to settle into the movement on this side. Focusing on that form, the tracking of that left knee. Coming back to our position on the carriage, so that top shoulder should be directly stacked on top of our bottom shoulder. Same with that top hip, stacked directly on top of that bottom hip, so shuffle yourself around now if you need to. A couple more full reps in this first set. Squeezing into that left glute on the way up. Driving through that left heel is going to help you get into that glute a little bit better. One more press to the top. You're going to inhale, find halfway, freeze. And then can we go for that slow pulse? Exhale, up an inch, pause. Inhale, down an inch, pause. You've got 10 like this. Coming back to those deep belly breaths. Maybe placing a hand on your belly. Feel that diaphragm rise and fall for 7. Good job for 6. Can you get a little bit more weight digging through that left heel for 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, and then you can press to the top on 1. Come all the way down to your stopper. Quick little tap out if you need it. And we've got 2 more sets to go. So your first one, your middle set, we're going to go for that ankle mobility. So lifting up that left heel, keeping the ball of your left foot on that foot bar. Nice deep inhale breath. And then exhale to push through the ball of that left foot, send that carriage away. And then inhale to slow return that carriage back down. Noticing if that heel wants to drop. Mine definitely does. So keep coming back to that feeling of lift. And again, it might feel a little different on this left side, so if it's not feeling good for that ankle, just bringing that left heel down to your foot bar and doing the same set that you just did is absolutely fine. Otherwise, give me a couple more here with that heel lifted. Noticing where you're feeling this one, maybe in that quad. One more press to the top. And then let's find that halfway point for that hold. You've got those heel taps, so can you keep that carriage still as you lower and lift that left heel? You're here for 10. Nice deep breaths. 8, 7. Good for 6. How high can you get that heel? Last 4. Don't let that carriage move for 3, 2. And then 1 more, lift that heel, push that carriage away. And then keep that heel lifted as you slowly return that carriage back to your stopper. Ooh, nice job, little tap out. You've got 1 more set to go. So nearly there. Ooh. These always seem like such a good idea when I plan the class, not so much when I'm halfway through them. You're going to take your out turn for that last set. So that 45-degree angle with your toes and your left knee. Nice deep inhale, and then exhale, push that carriage away. Inhale, keep that out turn as you draw that carriage slowly back in. Can you feel this one a little bit more in that outer glute? Inhale, draw in, and exhale, press away. Try to keep those left toes nice and relaxed. Digging that left heel nice and heavy into your foot bar. Good job. Give me a couple more. And then on your last one, push to the top. Inhale halfway. And then we finish with those pulses. Exhale out an inch. Inhale down an inch. You've got 10. Try find that pause at the top and bottom of each pulse. You've got 8. Nice. Last 6. 5. 4. 3. So nearly there for 2. And then push to the top. On 1. Oh, nice job. Bring that carriage all the way down. Gentle seat. Let's take a little stretch out for those legs, shall we? So coming to sit on your carriage, or I've got my sidecar here. 1 ankle over the opposite thigh for that figure 4 stretch. Maybe a little lean forward if that feels good. And the other side. Ooh. Nice work. All right, we're going to come into a little bit more glute focused lower body work now. Now I have got my box in a sidecar position. So we're starting with our right glute. So let's have that box on the left side of our carriage. So if you're facing the foot bar, your box is on the left side of your machine. You can change your springs here. I'm going to go 1 light spring. So taking off those heavy springs, you've got 1 light spring on your machine. If you did want to make this a little bit more upper body focused, you can go to a medium spring if you prefer. Otherwise, just 1 light spring. We're going to come to stand on our box facing the back of our machine. So please just be very mindful, particularly if you are pregnant, that we're standing up and it can feel a little wobbly. Just take your time getting into these positions for me. Your right foot is going to be in the center of that box, nice and close to your carriage. And then I want you to really, really carefully bring your left toes back behind you to that solid platform. So right foot on the box and left toes are on that solid platform behind you. Your right knee should be directly stacked on top of that right heel, and your hips are nice and square to the back of the room. Again, really carefully, we're going to use our left hand to grab our short loop off of that post. You can grab the closest one to you, and then that right hand can come to your hip. Square off those shoulders, so make sure that strap isn't letting that left shoulder pull forward. And then we're going to sink down into our split squat. So getting as much weight through that right heel as you can. I want you to inhale, bend through that right knee, start to push your hips down and back, hinging that chest forward. And then exhale, you're going to push through that right heel to rise. Inhale, push those hips down and back towards your foot bar. You've got a little hinge forward, so that chest is coming over that front thigh. And then exhale, drive through that right heel to rise. Inhale, split squat. And exhale to rise. Inhale, split squat. And exhale to rise. Each time you come down to find that squat, just checking that all your weight is through that right heel, so you should be able to still wiggle those right toes. And that right knee is staying over that right heel. So we're not letting that right knee come too far forward here. We can add on a row, so the next time we sink down, hold. Squeeze through that left shoulder blade to row that strap back, elbow to the foot bar. Slow release that row, and then drive through that right heel to rise. Glute is burning. Inhale, squat. Exhale, row. Inhale, release. And exhale to rise. Brace through that belly. Squat. Row, release, and rise. Can you give me 5? Squat, row, release, and rise for 4. Squat, row. Use your back on that row. Release, and push through that heel to rise. Just 3 more. Squat, row, belly button pulls in, release, and rise. 2 more. Squat, row, release, and rise. 1 more. Squat, row, release, and rise. Now we'll go for a little finisher at the bottom. Just take a quick little breather at the top if you need to. The next time you come down, find that lunge, or that split squat, sorry, we're going to hold. So inhale, push those hips down and back, freeze. You've got that row. Exhale, row. Inhale, release. Stay low, go again. Row and release. Give me 4. Nice, give me 3. Elbow to the foot bar. Hug that baby for 2. Can you hold this last row? Stay low. Pulse down and down. Heel is heavy for 5. For 4. Can you get lower for 3? Last 2. And 1. Rise tall. Release that row and really carefully come out of that position. That large glute goes on that post. Come down to the floor and then tap out of that leg. Amazing work. Grab a little drink of water. And we'll come into our next exercise in just a moment. Oh, I love a split squat. I really feel that in my glute. All right, we're going to come into a little bit of core, a little bit of shoulder work. So you can stay on the same springs. 1 yellow, standard. Sorry, 1 light spring, standard. If you did want something a little heavier, we can go up to that medium spring. Box is in the same position. We're going to come to a 4-point kneel on that box. So fingertips of water falling off the front edge of that box. And knees are right to the back edge of that box. Just double check in your body Get as best you can. Knees are under the line of your hips. Couple cat cows while we're here, eh? Inhale, drop the belly, looking up towards the ceiling. And then exhale, dome through that upper back, chin to chest. Go again, inhale, drop the belly. And exhale to dome. 2 more in your own time. Inhale, drop the belly. Exhale to dome. 1 more. Inhale, drop the belly. And exhale to dome. Beautiful. Find a neutral spine position. So belly button pulls in towards your spine, broadening your shoulder blades across your back, the top of that tail. And then your left hand is going to come to your shoulder block closest to you. Maintaining that neutral spine as you exhale, can you send that carriage away? And as you inhale, slowly draw that carriage back in towards your stopper. Exhale, drive. And inhale, return. Exhale, press. And inhale, return. Nice, so keep moving like this. So working through that left shoulder, but can you think about that movement initiating again from your shoulder blade? So that left shoulder blade. So we get a lot more power from those bigger back muscles than the smaller muscles in our arms. So good where we can to engage through those big muscles to help us out. Now we can make this into a bit more of a core focused exercise. The next time that shoulder or that carriage, is in at that start position, can you send your opposite right leg out towards the back of the room, heel about at hip height, and then see if you can keep working through that shoulder press. Exhale, push, and inhale, return, keeping that right leg lifted. So we're going to have to work that core a little bit harder now to maintain that balance. Think about hugging that baby in towards your spine. Couple more. If it doesn't feel good with that right leg extended, of course you can bring that right knee back down to your box at any point. And let's finish off that left shoulder with a couple of upper range reps. So the next time you push that carriage out, hold. You're going to bring that carriage in halfway only. Push that carriage out. Inhale halfway and exhale to push. Give me 6 here. Keeping that belly hugged in. Nice. For 4, still breathing. Heel is lifted. 3. Nice. 2. 1 more and hold this last one out. Left arm is nice and long. Can we pulse that right leg up and up? Squeeze into that right glute. Keep that core engaged. 6, 5, 4. Press that carriage away. 3, 2, and 1. Come slowly all the way back. Nice. Shuffle those knees forward. Bring that left arm across your body. Hook that right arm around it. And give that arm a little hug, stretching into that shoulder. Ooh, a couple of deep breaths. Nice work. Now, before we go on to the other side, let's just do a little bit more upper body in the middle. So, grab your box and place it on your carriage in a short box position. So, the long edge of that box is right up against those shoulder blocks, and then you've got an even overhang of that box on either side of your carriage, so it's not going to tip. You can stay on the same spring, so again, one light spring, easier, or a medium spring is going to be slightly heavier here. I might go for a medium spring for this one. I'm feeling quite good in that upper body today, so let's pop that on. We're going to come to take a seat on our box, facing the back of our machine. You can have your feet on that headrest or off the edge, and you're going to reach for your short glutes. Can you give me a crossover with those straps? So cross those straps over, but your hands stay parallel, if that makes sense. We're holding those straps with our arms out nice and long, so zombie arms, knuckles to the ceiling, and with hands about shoulder height, or just a little bit lower. Shoulders back and down, growing nice and tall through the crown of your head. And we'll start with our single arm rows. So left arm first. As you exhale, can you start to draw that left elbow towards your foot bar? Gaze can follow, take a little rotation. And then inhale to slow return that strap back to that start position. Go again, other side. Exhale, right elbow draws back towards that foot bar. And inhale, return. Back to your left arm. Draw that elbow back. Keep it about the same height as your shoulder. And inhale, return. Right arm. Elbow draws back. Take a little rotation through that spine. And inhale, return. Do one more on each side before we add on. Shouldn't feel too heavy here. And once you've done that second side, let's add on a frontal raise. So bracing through that torso, both arms are going to lift those straps up. And then inhale, slow return to that start position. 2 rows, one left, one right. Exhale, left elbow. Inhale, release. Exhale, right elbow draws back. Inhale, release, and then one frontal raise. Exhale to lift, long straight arms to the ceiling. And inhale, slow release. 2 rows, left and right. And one frontal raise up. And slowly down. 2 rows. And one frontal raise. As you raise those arms, try not to lean back. Keep that torso nice and upright. So keep the work in your shoulders. And as you row, can you think about initiating that row from your back? So that right shoulder blade as you row right, and that left shoulder blade as you row to the left. Nice. Let's do 5 more reps here of each movement. Still moving with that breath through your mouth. Lovely. You've got 4. Large loops are slightly friendlier if you need them here. You've got 3. Try and keep those arms shoulder height if you can. Nice and lifted, so keep that tension. You've got just 2 more. Oh. And then 1 more before we take a little breather. Left, right, and then last frontal raise. Slowly down. Ooh. Keep a hold of those straps, but give yourself just a little shoulder roll out. Stretch out for that neck. We're going to finish with just that frontal raise. So hike yourself up, find that start position. Large loops again, slightly friendlier if you need them. We're going to exhale to lift. And then inhale to slowly lower. Give me 5. Exhale, lift. And then inhale as slow as you can to lower. 4 more. Exhale, lift, shoulders are burning. Inhale, slowly lower. You've got 3. Try not let those shoulders come up towards your ears. Keep that belly button hugged in towards that spine. Last 2. And then on your last one, we're going to super slowly return back down to that start position. So exhale, last one, lift, hold. And then can you slowly return for 7, 6, arms are long, 5, 4, shoulders away from those ears for 3, 2, and all the way down on 1. So good. Uncross those straps and place those large loops over those posts. Well done. Quick little stretch out for that upper body, maybe interlacing those fingers in front of you is quite a nice one here. Tucking your chin into your chest, doming through that back. Breathing some space back into that back, those vertebrae. Nice job. And then you're going to come off to the opposite side of your carriage that we were working on. Bringing your box back to your side cow position, but on the other side of your machine, so on the right side of your machine now. So again, light spring is your standard option. Medium spring if you wanted just slightly more upper body focus for that squat to row series. I'm going to go back to my light spring. And then just really mindful as we get into that position. So we're going to stand carefully up onto our box. Left foot is about in the center of our box, nice and close to our carriage. And then just really mindfully bring your right toes back to that solid platform, squaring off those hips before you reach down to grab your short loop off that post with your right hand. Left hand to your hip, again square off those shoulders, make sure that strap isn't pulling you forward. Digging that left heel nice and heavy into your box. We'll start with that split squat only. So inhale, push those hips down and back towards your foot bar. And then exhale to drive through that left heel to rise. Inhale, push those hips down and back, hinge that chest forwards, keeping those shoulders, those hips square. And exhale, push through that heel to rise. Inhale, squat. Can you still wiggle those left toes at the bottom? And exhale, drive through that heel. Inhale, squat. Can you get a little bit more weight through that left heel? And exhale to rise. Inhale, squat. And exhale to rise. When you're ready, add that row. Inhale, squat. Exhale, row, elbow to the foot bar. Inhale, release that row. And exhale, rise. Inhale, squat. Exhale, row, brace that belly. Inhale, release the row. And exhale, dig through that heel to rise. Squat, row, release, rise. You've got 5. Again, that large loop is going to take a little bit of the tension out of that upper body work if you'd like to. Whoa, you've got 4, friends. Squat, row, release, and rise. You've got 3. Squat, row, release, rise. 2. Squat, row, release, and rise. 1 more, then let's take a little breather. Squat, row, release, and rise. Quick little tap out, couple of deep breaths. You've got your finisher at the bottom, those rows and those pulses, then we're done with our legs. So one more deep breath in and out. Square those shoulders, square those hips, and then meet me down at the bottom of that squat. So inhale, push those hips down and back. Get a little bit more weight into that left heel, tip that chest forward, and you've got 4 rows. Elbow to the foot bar. Use that right shoulder blade, you've got 3. Nice. You've got 2. Use your back. Last one, we hold this one. Row that elbow back and hold. Can we pulse down and down through that left leg? Heel as heavy as you can get it. 5, 4, lower if you can. 3, elbow to the foot bar for 2, and 1. Rise, hold, release that row, and then really carefully come down out of that position. Large glute goes away. Give that leg a little tap out. And you've got one last exercise to go, just to finish off that core and that right shoulder. You've done amazing. So little tap out, grab a drink. And then same springs, light spring, or that medium spring if you'd like a little bit more. And one last time, let's come to kneel on that box in our 4-point kneel position. So fingertips off that front edge, knees to the back, under the line of your hips, couple cat-cows. Inhale, drop the belly, look to the ceiling. And exhale, dome through that back chin to chest. Inhale, drop the belly. Exhale, dome. Oh, that feels good. One more. Inhale, drop the belly. And exhale to dome. Nice job. We're going to find our neutral spine. So pull that baby up towards your spine. Broaden those shoulders across your back. And you're going to bring your right hand to that shoulder block, starting with those shoulder presses. So exhale, push that carriage away. And then inhale, slowly draw that carriage back in. Exhale to press. And inhale, return. Keep moving like that, moving with that breath. And try isolate that movement just to that right arm. So the rest of your body, your torso, your legs are staying completely still. And using our deep core to stay nice and stable, frozen through the rest of our body. If you would like to make this a little bit more core focused, you can come into your bird dog. So the next time that carriage is in, you're going to hover that left knee. See if you can send that left leg back towards the back of the room, and then keep going with those shoulder presses. Exhale, press, and then inhale, release. Think about zipping up your core here. So zipping up from your pelvis, all the way up towards that rib cage. Trying to get that left heel to hip height if you can. Neck nice and long in line with your spine. And finishing off that shoulder, let's do a couple of upper range reps. So the next time you press away, we're going to inhale just back to halfway. And exhale, send that carriage out. Inhale halfway. Exhale, send that carriage away. Nice. So you're here for a count of 6. Left leg is nice and lifted if you can. Otherwise it can just come back to that box at any point. You've got 3. You've got 2. 1. Push that carriage away and hold. And then can we pulse that left leg up and up, squeezing into that left glute. You're here for 5. Here for 4. Belly button pulls in for 3, 2, and 1. Slowly draw everything in. Nice job, that is done. We can take just a few little stretches here though. So come to kneel on your carriage, face anything either way. Bum can sink down to your heels. Take a couple of side stretches. So let's go for that right side first. Bringing that right arm up and over your body. Maybe that left hand just down next to you. Looking down towards those left fingers. Breathing some space into that right side of your body. Really nice if you are getting a little bit of round ligament pain as well. Making a bit more space for that baby. Coming back to those deep early breaths. Inhale, feel that belly rise. And exhale, feel that body soften. Let's go other side. Inhale, reach those left fingers up. And exhale, come up and over to the right. Maybe looking down to those right fingers. Sinking a little deeper into that stretch each time you exhale. Trying to keep that left hip, that left side of your bum down nice and heavy though, so not lifting up. Keeping that stretch in your torso. Nice work. We're doing a little bit of hip flexor stretching, so you can stay on the same springs, either a light or a medium spring. A medium spring is going to feel slightly more supportive now, and a light spring is going to be slightly more intense of a stretch, so you might want to pop your medium spring on. Left foot nice and close to your machine, right knee down on that carriage, hands to that foot bar, and you're slowly going to melt down, sending that right knee away with your carriage. You can bring your forearms down to that solid platform if you like, maybe rocking back and forth, or maybe finding a static stretch, whatever feels better for you. Keeping that stretch nice and deeply through that left hip flexor, and maybe a little bit into that right quad as well. Oh, you can slowly come up, hands to that foot bar, come to kneel both knees on that carriage, nice wide stance with those knees, and then send your bum back to your heels, both hands to that foot bar, and then can you melt your chest down towards those springs in between those knees, finding your child's pose. If your belly is getting a little bit bigger like mine, you can come up to a puppy pose if that feels nicer. Give that belly a little bit more space. And then let's just do that hip flexor stretch on the other side. So bring in that carriage in, move your side far away if you haven't already. Right foot down on the floor next to your machine and left knee on that carriage. Sink down to find that hip flexor stretch. So right knee over right heel. And then either hand stay on that foot bar, or those forearms can come down to that solid platform. Whatever feels good. Just remembering if you are pregnant to take all of these stretches nice and gently. You don't want to overdo it. Maybe a rock, maybe a static stretch, whatever feels better for you. Right hip flexor, and maybe that left quad. Last couple of deep breaths here. And then when you're ready, you can come gently out of that stretch. Of course, take any last stretches that feel good, that you'd like to take. Otherwise, that's everything that I've got planned for you today. Well done on making the time and finding the energy to get through today's workout. Hope you enjoyed. And I'll see you next time.